Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saraviryam Karavavarai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavarai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Savaram Jangamam Vyaptam Yatkinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurave Chinmayam Vyapti Yat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Om Partaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Adye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayini Amba Tvamanusantatami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Sunvanti Devyai Savai Vede Sangha Padakramo Ganeshare Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyana Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yashyantam Navidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityaviyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahanyaham Ekyanam Devata Bhaktaha Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha Tepi Mameva Kaunteya Yajantya Vidipurvakam Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena te. Last time we says, I alone am the enjoyer in and alone all sacrifice, but they do not know me in. Hence they fall, return to this mortal. So here Lord Krishna is talking about a group of people who are devotees and they worship other gods. So what do we mean by other gods? We have to see it in the context of what he said earlier, starting even from number 20. But there are a group of people who will be doing the sacrifices according to the Vedas. So these Vedic sacrifices have got a certain um, goal in mind. So if people want to attain something in the material world, in the transactional world, they will carry out this Vedic ritual. And through the Vedic ritual, they attain a goal which is related to either this world or attaining something which is beyond this world. In other words, it is based on a personal need and a personal need. And as long as it is related to one's own personal desire, then it means that it is not being done. So what that means that I am attaining something in this world or the world beyond, which is related to my desire and my pleasure. So it doesn't go beyond what we normally do in our life, except that it is multiplied by several times, or it is about attaining a specific object in your life or a specific thing in your life. And therefore, it is related to the me and the mind. And as long as it related to the me and the mind, it will mean that karmas are being created, generated. Therefore, the increase in karma or the karmic consequences of all the action will result in return back to back to earth. Birth and death will continue even when the Vedic sacrifice. So here, Gurudev says in his comment, the ritualism which is behind this is something which can give us some kind of attainment, but that attainment does not mean attainment where life is achieved, which is moksha. Moksha is not going to Vedic sacrifice. So then that is one set of people. And then in from 22 right up to 34, we'll be describing as the bhaktas, the devotees, and different types of devotees who are devoted to various different. So in number 22, he talks about those men who worship me alone, thinking of no other. To those ever self-control, I secure for them that which is yoga and preserve for them what they already have. So here, famous verses in the Bhagavad Gita, and Gurudev says it's somewhere in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. Not exactly in the middle, but somewhere in the middle. If the focus of me and me alone, then I will make sure that what you don't have, I get for you, and what you have, I will present. And Gurudev again says in his commentary that here Krishna is giving us the secret of success. Secret of success in your transactional life and the secret of success in your spiritual life. In other words, if you want to attain anything in life, whether it's in the transactional world or it is in the spiritual world, these three principles be remember. So you all remember. Self-control is definitely one of them. And the idea is that there is a consistency in thinking and willing. That's number one. So you are consistently thinking and willing a certain goal and vision in mind. Okay? So everything which is going on in your experience, in your transaction, in your worldly relation, is in the context of that particular thinking and willing and that vision and goal which you have. So everything is being aligned. It is aligned with the vision, it is aligned with the goal, and that goal is aligned with your thought, word and deed. And besides being aligned, there is no contradiction in anything which you think and you feel and you speak and you act in the world. There is no contradiction. In other words, if I believe that there is God, that my relationship with God is, there is no other contradictory thought or word or action is being carried out. Very difficult state. Because all the time, what is happening is that we are having contradictory thoughts. So, for example, if I say, I truly believe in God, I know God exists, and I know that God is looking after me. I have surrendered to God. And when you say you surrender to God, is taking care. Very next minute, worrying about this thing. Anxiety begins to do. Oh, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen? So now that thought pattern is contradictory to your belief that God exists. And every time there is a contradictory thought or word or action, what are you doing to the vision? Consistent. In other words, without the consistency, the belief is not being validated, the belief is not being reinforced, the belief and the truth of that belief is being hated by. In other words, the way by the same we believe in, and yet there are so many contradictory thoughts which are actually negating that belief. I tell you, if I ask you now, do you believe in God? You will say, believe in God. Aligned. Is your word aligned to that belief? Is your action aligned to that belief? And if it is not, you might as well say, I don't think. Very important point. Again, remember we cannot. I Brahman. Let not Brahman deny me. Because every time I deny Brahman, I am throwing it out of the thing. Actually, I don't. So this consistency of thought, not simply consistent in the way in which we think, means total alignment to that vision and complete removal of any contradictory thought, yeah, word, or act. It's a very narrow path we walk on. So, not only that we are believing in God and God alone and no others, Ananya, we call him. And he says that with that is nothing else and with total self-control. So number one, number two, singleness of relationship, not attainment of ultimate purpose of life, which is in any of your transactional activity or in terms of your spiritual goal, and it will. So now Lord is saying that I will take things which you don't have, guard things which you have. Gurudev in this as there is no. You can think of a personal God that is there in a name and form. He's going to have and don't have. But on the other hand, we can as the underlying law of so divinity expressing itself as laws of nature, laws of cause and effect, really operating, work according to the three principles. get what we don't have. And so this is an impulse for reflection for our own sadhana. Think about how does it apply in our own. And he says that in the next one, he says, even with those devotees who are with faith, they worship other gods, they worship me. And here he is not only pointing out that the underlying reality is one and the same. So he says that they are worshipping me alone, but what is the problem is that they're using the wrong method. The wrong method, the wrong kind they are trying to look for something in the transactional life, and here the other gods, Devata, Ananya Devata, Anya Devata, these are really all the things which we worship in can be. In Kamini and Kirti. So whether it is we are running ourselves for this, that, and the other, or whether we are looking for name and fame, all these things become a worship those faith that yes, I have faith that in these things, I have faith in these things, and I'm going to go after them. Those things will give me one. So there are two interpretations. One is that the underlying reality is the same thing. And when we are looking for name and fame, when we are looking for wealth, actually what we are worshiping, logic. So when I say that I'm looking for wealth, what is it which I'm really looking for? I'm really looking for is because I think that when I get the wealth, I will get all the things which I want through my wealth, and through that wealth, I will attain the happiness. In fact, when I'm looking for all these theaters presenting the objects of my desire, and my desire is to get happy, those objects, and what that happiness I'm looking for is actually available in the underlying. Therefore, what he's saying, you are looking for happiness, that happiness is available in the underlying reality, but you have diverted your attention to those things which in the objective world, which you think are going to give you happiness, forgetting that the time underlying reality is the wrong method. I'm looking for an object who fulfillment happiness is my spirit. That I can attain that happiness which I'm looking for in my life. He aims objects through the beings of the world, and so it says that yes, we can be worshipping this, but it is wrong method, and we consider what we are looking for in our life. And again, it is a thing which we need to reflect on ourselves and ask ourselves, what am I looking for in my life? For happiness, that and the other. Where is my happiness? This person, that thing, and is this a true and valid belief I'm holding? And is it contradictory to my And then he says, in relationship to this wrong method he was talking about in number 3, is I am alone, I alone am the enjoyer in and the Lord of all sacrifice, but they do not know. Hence their fault. So, does it mean he says, I am the enjoyer? I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. I'm the bhokta. I'm the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. Means that the ultimate kind of happiness lies in self. And that self and the relationship with individual enjoyment, when we get enjoyment out of anything, what Lord Krishna is saying, the enjoyment you are getting as an individual does not actually ultimate. So, what I'm saying is that the enjoyment and the happiness in the object of your desire is arising not from either the object or the process which you have gone through to acquire that object, but it revealing to you inherent within. And as an example, take the money is always there, and we can't see it. We can see the light, but in order to see the sun directly, the cloud need to move away so I can have direct vision of. So what here is that when we are actually not coming from mind, heart, object, nor is it coming from the me and the object, but temporarily if the object desire happiness which because on the attainment of the object, the mind falls in the silence of I see being experienced, wrong method, wrong thinking, doing in our what is it? This is located somewhere else, but it is available to us because mind falls silent at the moment we achieve our and we think that I'm getting the happiness from out in nature and situation, that condition, the circumstance giving me the I think I'm getting this by being in this place at this time with nature. We attribute that happiness being in that location. Thing here again, why? Because happiness is when you go to that place, mind becomes you're in touch with the mindful side, silence of that it is patient. I'm saying he's saying that I alone am the joy and the Lord of all sacrifice, which means I am the one which is being in through this sacrifice. I am the one with reality. Now, what do we mean by sacrifice? It can be external sacrifice, like he was talking about earlier on. That if it is a Vedic sacrifice, here's an elaborate ritual I'm going to do, and that's, you know, various elements which come together to create a ritual, and that ritual, having gone through that ritual, I attain some kind of result I'm going to enjoy. In the Vedantic way of thinking about sacrifices, what is a sacrifice? So we have to think about the Vedantic way of thinking about as a ritual which is carried out internally. This ritual which we carry out internally is a certain step-by-step way of thinking and doing. So, like I can say that the sacrifice going on in terms of my mind and the senses which are presenting objects to the mind is then processing intellectual reasoning and so on. That sacrifice is going on. Bring my attention to the objects of the world. Then in return, in other words, the mental and physical activity which is going on in our daily transactional life can be seen as a kind of sacrifice which is going on. So you remember the food prayer. When we say the food prayer, I'm eating Brahman.
Brahman is dead. Brahman.
I'm Brahman. So food is Brahman. Eater of the food is Brahman. The digester of the food is Brahman, and everything is. Now, just the very kind of act of eating our food becomes a yajna. And we can think of all the things we are sacrificing. We are doing this kind of sacrifice in order in a certain. And our sacrifice is in relationship to our reality, in relationship to objects of the world. The transaction which goes on is seen as a sacrifice. God says, I'm the Lord of all the sacrifice. That anything which is going on in the body, mind, intellect, it is not some body, mind, intellect, but it's arising because there is sentiency, intellect, and that sentiency is coming from where? Sentiency. Ultimate self, protecting itself in body, mind, intellect, gives it sentiency, gives it the power to think, power to will, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. These are the three Shaktis of sentiency which are continuously in the body, mind, and it only self. The Lord of Rises is but essence and therefore all. So, if we try to kind of understand this verse with the reading, is that we are getting caught up in a wrong kind of thinking and wrong kind of understanding we're looking for, and getting involved in a transactional world without realizing that there is an under, and in denying that underlying reality, caught up in the transactional world, and that transactional world is going to locus of happiness is not in the transaction, is, and when our attention is diverted to the fractional world and we function in the world with the identity, me and the mind, what happens that we ego identity and functioning me and the mind create more karmas. In other words, question, yeah, yes, yes, that's right. So ask yourself, we have to ask which God am I worshipping? And in worshipping that God, so it's very important because, remember the condition under which we are going to learn in the Vijnan, and the whole point of the chapter is the royal secret and the supreme law. The royal secret and that supreme knowledge is going to be only by walking a very narrow path. Narrow path means that tune my life, tune my body, mind, intellect, tune my goal and my vision in such a way that it all, everything flows in. If there's any contradiction to that, I might. So it's a realize that this particular way of functioning. No wonder not is that out of thousands one will turn towards, one will attain. So as I keep on the very fact who have eliminated one in a million for Okay, so the immutable reality is the one which has been invoked. Whatever we are doing, when we invoke any other devata, what we are invoking that reality. What we forget is that, beyond the objects and the things of the world, is that one under reality get to do not not invoke that reality, but invoke the manifestation of that reality. So we are functioning at a lower order. We are functioning at a second order of reality. And as you know that, absolute reality, the transactional reality, personal reality, transactional this reality, objective, and the individuality to individual. And what happens is that we get locked up in the two lower orders of reality, individual reality, transactional reality, and we forget. And this is exactly what is that caught up in the worship of the Devata, transactional reality, and therefore we are in denial of that reality. Just shift our attention. Say, actually, I want nothing else but absolute reality. I want to go beyond my individual. Therefore, it becomes single pointed of consistency, self-control to take us beyond the body, mind, intellect. Do that. Make sure that okay. So let's go. And here in this one, there says in the that complete happiness and perfect content lie only in the innermost walls of the bosom, not in the fields of profit. So again, being very clear about something which is so central to our life, focus of happiness. There's a very strong belief that focus of outside of us, through our reflection, strong belief, Parithabhav, and this is a very strong, always get says, you may be worshipped. Turn your attention to yourself, go according. So he goes on to the consequences of what um, um, wrong method. Um, I worshippers go to those leaders. How does that work? And that
Yanti deva vrata devan. Yanti deva vrata devan. Pitrun yanti pitrivrataha. Yanti pitrivrataha. Bhutani yanti bhutejyaha. Bhutani yanti bhutejyaha. Yanti madhyajinopi mam. Yanti madhyajinopi mam. Yanti deva vrata devan. Pitruyanti pitrivrataha. Bhutani yanti bhutejyaha. Yanti madhyajinopi mam.
so here says the worshippers of the devas or the gods go to the deva, to the pitras or the ancestors go to the ancestor worship, to the bhutas or the elements go, and but my worshippers. So very simply means that whatever destination you decide to go, you will reach there. Think that yeah, in this life, you focus in my transaction. Eventually you get there because first focus your energies towards attaining that, and so on and so on. So Gurudev says here, principle behind all things is as you think, as you think, as you think, so you become means what? Is that you determine your own reality. And to determine the reality which is unfold for you according to the patterns of your own thinking. You're a great person. You will become a great person. For the power of think positive, then you have your mind. Think so you become. And what? How does this work? So he says the thoughts maintained by an individual define him. So if I maintain a certain thought pattern about myself, a certain thought pattern about the world, which means I have a certain perception of myself and a certain perception. That perception through a repeated pattern of thinking and being will result in a person, in other words, can become a completely different person if you do what? Change your thinking and you change your patterns of thinking and your attitude, intentions, to become it. So imagine if in Vedanta point in your before Vedanta thinking, after Vedanta and pattern. Can you see the change? Yes. Now why is there a difference Vedanta and after? This is the insight. Vedanta has given me a different way of thinking. Vedanta has given a different way of thinking about myself and thinking about the world and thinking about my relationship to the world. Before I was thinking, and this is the world, this is my field, and this is where I play. The world is my soccer pitch. Play on that holds what. Then Vedanta, your pitch, not your ball, not your individuality, taken about those things. What happens? I begin to think about the goal of life in a different. I think about myself in a different way, my relationship to the world in a different way. I think about Vedanta changes the way in which and which I and which I not thinking has changed. And you can see the effect of change of, because it takes us from tamasic and a rajasic nature towards a sattvic. Just the thinking pattern changing takes us towards the sattvic nature, and in that sattvic nature, I express it. So these three things, if you experience more and more in Vedanta, we have to go to basic. The basics. Or very clearly, being and sampati after I not have enough viveka also good what I had enough vairagya, I'm still attached. I think I got all these things basic. The pattern. then begin to experience market nature. And this is a natural law of psychology in development, change our thoughts. And he said that the thinking pattern can be related on the one hand to the devas, can be related to the pitras, or it can be related to. So what are the things he So he says the devas we have seen represent in our individual life the various sense organs, the activities of. So which means that those who are courting the external world of joys and come to gain the demanded experience. So in other words, when I worship the devas, the individual life, the various sense organs, the worship the sense organs and what the sense organs are bringing. Sense organs are bringing what? Sense organs are bringing the perception of the world. In other words, I'm worshipping through my sense the beings and things of the world. As I develop my patterns of thinking according to the senses and objects of the world, so that is what I worship the devas and I go to the world of the devas. In other words, I worship the senses and I go to this world of the senses. Second thing, the Pitrus. Who are these Pitrus? Pitrus, he says, means the ancestors. And he says that um, when we are actually dedicating our life to the ordained karma, he retired for a limited period and just enjoy the world of the. So the Pitrus are really the kind of good karmas which we do, ordained karma, being lived in life, therefore having in our life that we acquire a certain merits, punyas, and those punyas will take us to the relationship with the world of ancestors and what I'm doing here. So the world of ancestors is really nothing but a representation of the kind of what you call the culture which has been handed down to and the kind of ordained actions I am supposed to do within the context of me and my family and the ancestors who. So if we think about why are we doing altar here, the ancestors, they have known that this is what needs to be today as what? King and so when I do this thing over to culture, I am following according to those ordained actions lineage, therefore I gain the merits of those go to leave this world. There I enjoy, just like in Devas, I enjoy the world and certain. Similarly, I go to the world of finish those merits and then find these Bhutas. The worshippers of the Bhuta reach the Bhutas, which means that it is explaining this lower spiritual practice called Prakriti Laya, indicating. So this was really was, uh, Prakriti means what? It means all things which is of material world. There's a word, various different physical nature, and in a sense, what um, the a life of active scientific, which are related to the transactional world, the material world, and caught up in that. And he says that that is what of the various aspects of the lower nature. So you remember, Prakriti is our lower nature. So in the previous chapter, he was talking about eightfold lower nature, which consisted of the five elements. And one buddhi, so the one buddhi ahankara, plus the five elements, worship. So finally, he says that, but my worshippers come to me. So we got several options. What he says is what the options of the devas, and according to what we worship, we're going to end. And we also got the option of going towards that ultimate reality, going towards self, going towards inner essence. And if we worship that, then again repeating that, out of all these things which are available, and look at the way in which we are functioning in our life. We have to look at and examine really what are our thoughts, what are our patterns, attitudes, what's our intention, what am I doing in our life, what am I worshipping, how can I change all these things so that my mind and intellect moving towards, which is yes, you can worship all these things and in this, the final result of all these things. That's right. Even if you worship various different things, and if the ultimate purpose of life is moksha, then there is only one. One is the Brahma Mukti, okay? The other one is the Mukti. So Brahma Mukti, you attain Brahmaloka, Brahmaloka. Or whilst living, you can attain. And the ultimate purpose of liberation, it is moksha, and that can only be done on what, according to Acharya, only way in which I protect itself. Nothing else other than doing this, that, to build, doing all this. nothing is going to this. Best is needs to be done, but it is not going to lead. Only thing and the throughout, of course, the Bhagavad Gita, the whole emphasis is on knowing that the of this reality, Brahman is nothing. Brahman or Mahavakyas, that is the reality. And that is what we next week. But yeah, Dr. Shiva's
Hare. September 23rd, there is a committee meeting at 10:30. That there is it's on.
okay, so unless we decide to have it, but leave it free for the time being.
Give it a wait.
I know you're very so eager to learn this knowledge. Let's give it a week. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyat Dukkha Bhave Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. So, tomorrow